piece a circle, a whole complete circle, into a background fabric. Piece, not applique. Greetings all, and welcome to Dave's Craft Room. And on today's video, we're talking about weddings. Because my friends Alex and Melissa are getting married. Obviously, they need a quilt. Because I can't even go to the wedding because it's too far away. But I will be sending them a quilt. I took inspiration from this book. This is Strips and Curves by Louisa Smith. Yeah, Louisa Smith. She has this technique where she makes strip units and then she cuts with templates curvy pieces out of the strip units. That's what we're gonna do because I saw this quilt in here on page 12, and when I saw it I immediately knew that it was gonna be my inspiration for my quilt for Alex and Melissa in blue. I don't know why I chose blue, I just feel that blue is the move. I have no knowledge that they even like blue. I hope they like blue. Alex and Melissa, I hope you like blue. So what we need to do first thing is probably read the book. Then we're probably gonna pull fabric and cut and sew up our strip units. 1.5 inch strips, which will yield 1 inch things. And then we will cut our chunks, our curvy pieces, and then we will sew it together and just vibe. So that's that. So I'll come back. I need to read the book and then figure out the next moves from there. So these are the strips I sewed together. They're 1.5 inch strips. I did 2 strips at a time, and then I sewed the 2 into 4 and the 4 into 8, etc. And then I ironed the seams open. Usually it's recommended that you sew them onto a unit and you sew from the opposite direction each time you sew another strip on. I can't really keep track of what direction I'm supposed to be on when I do it that way, so I just do it this way. I don't find that it makes a huge difference. Okay, we're on the second day. We have all our strip fabric, and I've even bought a protractor. This is a protractor because apparently there is math involved. Math is a school subject. It's taught in most education systems. Apparently it was taught in mine, although I have no recollection of it. But this is my process for what we're doing now. Basically, I look at the inspiration, this book, and I just decide on doing something. Like I'm gonna kind of do this chunk. I kind of just take a chunk and see whether I can make something that is along the same... What did I say? Oh, this one, okay. This one. So we have like 4 quadrants, and there's a circle here. Does not look like a circle at all. This is a solid. It's not necessarily a solid, not strips. And then there's a circle in here. I will probably applique that on. This is gonna be strips. And this will have a circle within it. The only curved piecing is this, this, and this. This circle will be appliqued on. So, let's do it. I put this here, use my little design wall, and proceed.
So this is an example of going from whiteboard sketch to quilt block, and then these are some of the other ones that I made. Using the whiteboard to plan out my blocks was the training wheels, and now I'm taking them off and moving towards using the techniques to make improv blocks. When I cut out a curve or circle, there's always that other side to the curve that gets set aside, and then I can use that piece as building blocks for the next one, and that's how I proceed and continue to make blocks.
Okay guys, so it's been a couple of weeks since I've had the chance to work on Alex and Melissa's wedding quilt, and it's time to get back into it. This is where we're at. I have the pile here. This is the strip and circle blocks. So we need to get those up on the design wall. This is the scrap fabric that we have left. We don't have very much strip sets left. Like all we have is little scraps of it. So we need to piece more strip sets. So I have whatever blue I can scrounge up out of here, and then I have some more in the stash. Blocks, scraps for more. These are the templates. And then we're gonna do appliques, okay? Because I'm gonna put airplanes on it. These are some of the ones I've cut out already and put in this construction paper, and then there's more here. They're cut out of these t-shirts that I got on eBay. So I'm gonna do that. And then the other thing I need to do is a technique I learned yesterday. You guys, this is huge news. Yesterday, while I was watching the Quilt show with Alex Anderson, I saw her demonstrate how to piece a circle, a whole complete circle, into a background fabric. Piece, not applique. I want to demonstrate this. I'm gonna get all the blocks up on the wall and prepare some fabric and supplies, and then we're gonna demonstrate this circle piecing method. This section here is not stunning. So this is about how big I want it. And so now all I have to do is fill in the empty spaces. So I'm about to show you something that's gonna blow your mind. Okay guys, so I'm ready to show you my brand new technique that I just learned. This technique was invented by Dale Flemming, and I don't need to tell you any measurements because you can do whatever size you want. I'm just gonna look for the center of the paper. That's why I folded it. But what we have here is, this is freezer paper. And so I'm gonna draw a circle on it. It can be whatever size I want. I'll just do like, I don't know, this big or something. Right in the middle. And then with my X-Acto knife, I'm gonna cut it out. Now this kind of has to be perfect. If there's a mistake, you'll see it in the final result. So take care and make it perfect, beautiful, and lovely. Now I'm going to iron this onto here. We're gonna get this background, and this is gonna be our circle color. So, and there's no right and wrong side to this blue fabric, so I can just iron it on. So I have that, and now with my scissor, I'm gonna cut this circle out. I can just eyeball it, but I'm gonna do a little more than 1/4 inch. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm now gonna cut this not quite to the edge of the paper, all the way around. So now I have my Elmer's glue stick here, and I'm just going to lightly glue this. This is a washable glue stick. You don't need very much. Actually, you don't want very much here because we're gonna peel this off later. And then we can turn the edges under, have it stick.
I'm pausing here because using glue on that step is actually optional. This glue will get peeled up anyway, and after this I realized I could just use the iron to crease the fabric in place, and that was easier, so that's how I did it from here on.
And I'm going to iron it to dry it. Now I have my blue piece of fabric here, okay? And this is gonna look like this in the end. With that set in, let me iron this because it's not even flat. It's gonna look like this. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna glue, and I'm gonna use more glue this time. Put this on. Like that. Now I'm gonna iron that to dry the glue. So that's glued on there now. And what I'm gonna do is peel this paper off, pull that off from there. And now, this is the key step. I can pull this back with my sewing machine, just sew right along that creased line. There's a little bit of paper stuff in there, but I really don't care. It's not gonna hurt anything. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So all I did was just sew along there. That was ridiculously easy, and I'm gonna iron it. And then what we can do next is cut out the extra bulk, because we don't need all that. And that's it. It is pieced in. That's incredible. Honestly, when I saw this method, I was completely shook. I was disheveled and destroyed because it is so easy. Now I can put this inside my quilt. And so what we're gonna do next is make more strip sets so that we can continue making more blocks, and that's just what we're gonna do.
I'm placing my airplanes on the design wall where I want them, and at first I pin them in place, and then I have this wireless iron so I can iron baste them right on the design wall. I'm preparing to applique the airplanes on, so I'm getting out my Singer to do the zigzag stitch. Normally I use my Brother PQ1500 SL, and I like it for how fast it is and the automatic thread cutter and the knee bar, but it doesn't have any fancy stitches at all, so I have to keep a Singer under my desk for any time I need to do a zigzag, and the Singer doesn't have a thread cutter or a knee bar. I haven't found a machine that has an electric cutter and a knee bar and fancy stitches other than maybe a Bernina, but Berninas are way too expensive. They cost more than I spent on my car. So if anybody can recommend a machine that has all the features and does not cost 5 to 10 grand, please leave a comment below. I have this old construction paper in my craft room, and I'm placing the paper under the fabric before I applique on it. And the paper is serving as a stabilizer because paper doesn't have any give like fabric does, so that prevents you from pulling it or having it get bunched up with the zigzag stitch. I tried a practice piece with and without the paper, and it was definitely better and more flat with the paper. Some people keep an old phone book and use the pages from it for this, or really any scratch paper, and then you just rip off the paper when you're done.
No! No more white thread. Let's see if I have any more. This is a very light gray, and it should work. You know what? I have it on this bobbin. Should I just use the bobbin? Why not?
I went to a quilt festival around the time I made this quilt, and one of the vendors talked me into buying these quilting gloves with the grippy fingers. They worked alright, I guess. I really don't have a huge problem with gripping the quilt, and they weren't exactly made for male-sized hands, so they were kind of a little small. They probably do have bigger ones on the market, but I really don't see myself using them again. I'm happy with just my bare hands. There were so many seams in this quilt, more than probably any other quilt I've made, so I quilted it very tightly, like pretty much every inch is quilted, and the back is also flannel. And this is the final result. I really impressed myself on this one, and it represents the wedding and the marriage because of all the interlocking rings and circles to represent, you know, the wedding and all that. And I hope Alex and Melissa love it. And that's all for today's video. Thank you for coming to Dave's Craft Room. Like and subscribe, and please come again.